All right, we are going to solve rational equations and inequalities. So a rational equation, equations that contain one or more rational expressions. So example 1, solve, then check your solution. So these take some time to do. Make sure you stay neat, moving things over, making sure everything stays neat. Big, important part of this question. Something that I like to do is I actually like to set it equal to 0. Move this over first, and then you can get a common denominator. So it'd be 4 over x plus 3 plus 5 over 6 minus 23 over 18 equals 0. Okay, big important thing, you have to get a common denominator. Okay, common denominator with these three different things is going to be 18x plus 3. All right, so now we need to figure out what we have to multiply everything by to make sure we get there. This is already x plus 3. You have to multiply the 4 by 18 plus. Okay, so we need this to be multiplied by x plus 3, and you need to multiply how to get to 18, which would be multiplying it by 3. So you have to take that 5, you have to multiply it by 3, and x plus 3 minus. All right, so our last one, you already have 18, so you only have to multiply it by x plus 3, so it's 23 times x plus 3. Now we're going to just simplify that math, okay? 4 times 18 is 72. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 times x is 15x. 15 times 3 is 45, so plus 45. Ooh. I said it, but I didn't write it. 45. Negative 23 times x. Negative 23x. Negative 23 times 3 is a negative 69. All of that is over your 18x plus 3. Okay. Combine everything you have on the top. Okay, so you have a positive 15x and a negative 23x. That gets you negative 8x. You have a 72, a 45, and a negative 69 is a positive 48. The reason I like to set it equal to 0 is because now when you cross multiply, it just goes away. Okay, so you have this statement, well, it goes to equal 0. Negative 8x plus 48 equals 0. Your denominator will always just go away there, and you just solve this equation. So subtract that over, you get negative x equals negative 48. Divide by 8. Divide by 8. You get x to equal a positive 6. Just double check your answer and make sure that it is good. 6 plus 3 is 9, so you have 4 over 9 here. Okay, plus 5 over 6. You can just put that in your calculator. 4 over 9 plus 5 over 6, that's equal 23 over 18. And it does. Okay, one more thing that I forgot to write when we start these equations that will help you when you're doing your answers is what can your equation not equal? What does it exclude? Okay, remember when you set your denominator equal to 0, so x cannot be 3. Okay, this is going to be really important because if you get a 3 as your answer, you automatically already know it's wrong because it equals that. All right, so I do like to write that, and I forgot to do that at the beginning of the problem. All right, example 2 is the same concept. I would like you guys to try it on your own. My answers are posted, and I kind of set it up the same way I just taught you here. Let me know if you need any help. All right, let's move on to example 3 together. All right, so it is the same exact concept. It just gets a tad harder, okay? So first thing you want to have to do is you are going to want to factor this out and figure out what this is. Okay? Multiplies to 15, but adds to 5, adds to 8 is 5 and 3. All right, so bring this over. So we have 2x over x plus 5 minus x squared minus x minus 10 over x plus 5, x plus 3 minus 3 over x plus 3 equals 0. Okay, so now find your common denominator. Okay, it looks like you have an x plus 5, which this also has. You have an x plus 3, which this also has. So it's both of them. So you have an x plus 5 and an x plus 3. All right, so now you just have to multiply it by the opposite of what you need. So this needs an x plus 3. So it's 2x times x plus 3 minus sign. This has both, so it's nothing. Okay, I just like to put it in parentheses. To make sure that the whole thing gets subtracted there. Okay, my minus 3 has to have an x plus 5 on it. All right, so now this all equals 0. Just distribute and multiply it all out. 2 times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. Distribute this negative, minus x squared plus x plus 10. Distribute, minus 3x minus 15. Whole thing is over x plus 5, x plus 3. Okay? So now, combine like terms. Put everything we have together. Okay? So 2x squared and a negative x squared is x squared. You have 6x, an x, and a 3x, I think. Is that everything? So 7 minus 3 is 4. And then see a positive 10 and a negative 15 is a negative 5. Okay, remember this is where your bottom gets to go away and you get x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0. Factor this out and solve. Multiply to a negative 5 adds to 4. A 5 and a negative 1. So it's x minus or plus 5, x minus 1. So x equals negative 5 and 1. Check your answers. Okay, remember I said it in the first example. Something that I like to do is always set my denominator equal to 0 and make sure find out what I can't have as a solution. So x cannot equal negative 5 and x cannot equal negative 3. Well, guess what? We got negative 5. So we know that's already out as an answer. Cannot equal it. Okay, then you plug in your 1, make sure everything works out, and it does come out your answer. Okay, 1 is a solution. All right, I would like you guys to try example 4 on your own. Big important thing about number 4 is you have this 2. Remember, it's 2 over 1. You can make it a fraction. Okay, doesn't matter which way you want it to be, but it can be a fraction. All right, so don't get afraid because it's a constant. All right, let's look at example 5. This is the next one. All right, solve, then check your solution. All right. big thing about the bottom here, okay? They all have a GCF on the bottoms. So right here, this is technically 3n plus 1. I plotted GCF here. This is 4n minus 1. Plotted GCF of 2, and I have n plus 1. Okay? So really, my answers cannot equal plus and minus 1. Because if you solve this and solve this, this is the same as that. Okay? So now, we have to set this up as our problem. So we have 7n over 3n plus 1 minus 5 over 4n minus 1 minus 3n over 2n plus 1 equals 0. Okay, this is how we have it set up. Now, finding your common denominator. Okay, common denominator. You have an n plus 1, n minus 1 has to be a part of it. Okay, now you need a constant, a number. Okay, what number can 3, 4, and 2 all have in common there? Your least common multiple. Okay, it is 12. All right, so now we have to figure out what we have to multiply things by to make sure we can get there. All right, 7n. We need to multiply 7n by 4. That gets me to the 12. And I need to multiply it by n minus 1. Okay, minus sign. We have to multiply this 5 by a 3 to get to 12. And then we have to multiply it by an n plus 1. Okay, now my negative 3n, we have to multiply that by 6 to get to 12, and then we have to multiply it by an n minus 1. All right, let's do that math. 7 times 4 is 28n. Now I'm going to distribute 28n. Okay, so that becomes 28n squared minus 28n. All right, so negative 5 and 3 is a negative 15, and I'm going to distribute a negative 15. So it's a negative 15n minus 15. Negative 3n and a 6 is a negative 18n, and I'm going to distribute that. So you get negative 18n plus, n squared plus 18n. And that's all over 12n plus 1 n minus 1 equals 0. These all equal 0. Okay, so now I'm going to simplify what this says. 28n squared minus 18n squared is 10n squared. I have a negative 28n, I have a negative 15n, and I have a positive 18n, which makes a negative 25n, and I have a minus 15 equals 0. Remember, this is where you get to drop your denominator. 10n squared minus 25n minus 15. Looking at this, they all have a GCF of 5, so we're going to pull it out. Okay, you're left over with 2n squared minus 5n minus 3. Okay, now you're going to factor and headphones this. Multiplies to a negative 6, but adds to a negative 5 is a negative 6n 1. Okay, so we have 2n over negative 6 and a 2n over 1. Can't simplify this, so it's 2n plus 1. Here you can, and you get an n minus 3. Solve them both, you get n equals 3 and a negative 1/2. Check your solutions. They're both your answers to this problem.